Hey everyone, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. Tonight we should be getting the reveal trailer for the next set of seasonal units in the game that's going to be launching in just a couple of days. Now, it's a little bit unusual because April last year we didn't have a batch of seasonal units, so the theme for this set is unknown. They try to keep the theme consistent year after year, each month. If you had a Bride banner last year, you're going to have a Bride banner this year. If you had a Spring banner last year, Spring banner this year. Halloween, Valentine's Day, whatever it might be. But in this case, we didn't have an April seasonal banner last year, so we don't know what it's going to be. And based upon the silhouette, it looks like it could be something based on camping or cooking, maybe a spring picnic, or it's very unclear. At the very least, the silhouette on the left-hand side looks startlingly like Genny from Shadows of Valentia. So the curly hair on the left-hand side does seem to give it away. It does appear as though the Wrathful sheep may be getting a seasonal alt, and that would be exciting. Genny's always a fun character. She's always ready to roll. And on the right side, really, that could be, frankly, anybody. That could be Azura, or that could be Ike. I mean, it could be anybody. I would be excited if we are going to be getting Valentia units. I would like to see potentially a Sonya alt. That would be really cool. If May were to get an alt, that would be really cool as well. Celica, naturally. But any of those characters I would be excited for. So let's see what they have in store for us. Alright, so here we go. Unfortunately, because of the way I'm recording, I can see the title of the trailer already, so it's A Season for Picnics. I did say that it could be picnics, which is actually pretty exciting. I think that is kind of cool. But let's see what we've got here. Time to have a picnic. Oh, wow. Oh, wait, is that Lukas? Okay, we're going to start with Signature Dish. Flora. An armor, really. She does not look like an armor unit. Okay. Samranir? Geez. A whole host of new skills. Coming right up. I like the background in the art. Buffet for one. Okay. Here's Lukas. Looking very dapper there. Luncheon Lance Plus. So I gotta see what this ARO skill is. We'll take a closer look on the rewatch. So here is Genny, ready to roll, dressed with care. Okay, she's gonna be a cavalry. She's gonna be a cavalry healer. She has a little deer in her art. I would have thought that might mean that she would be riding the deer, but nope, she's riding a horse. And wrapping it up is going to be off the menu. Oh, Felicia. Okay, green axe, or green armor, axe armor. Okay. Oh, I like that animation. She kind of does a little trip. Okay, so Paralog Story, A Season for Picnics. This does look like a really cute banner, I've got to say. And any surprises here? I didn't see any. Let's back it up. Hold on. Wait a second. Let's back it up here and is that Leo? That's not Leo, is it? That might be Leo. I mean, it makes sense. Flora and Felicia, and Leo as a green cavalry unit. That's pretty cool. Leo hasn't had an alt in a very long time. I know people are sick of the royals, but Leo is like the least represented royal. So I think we can probably give him a buy on this one. Yeah, Leo's pretty underrepresented as far as the Fates Royals are concerned. It looks like he might have a bag of apples. Maybe. Is he apple picking? Is that what he's doing? I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. But I like this is a really sort of festive, gentle, I don't know. It's a very cute banner. Let's keep going with this. Alright, so special heroes are here. Availability from the 19th all the way until the 19th of next month. So we do have a full month to pull for these units as usual. And there is even color distribution for person banner, meaning that each unit has a 0.75% chance of appearing on any given stone within the circle when you first enter the circle. So, okay, a lot of armors and 1 cavalry. It's been a little while since we've had a full fleet of armors on a banner, and I mean, I know I shouldn't be surprised that they don't look like armors, but they definitely look, I mean, they look light and breezy as far as character design is concerned. Definitely not armored, but regardless, it looks like they're going to be stacking armors, and they come with an all-new skill in the ace lot, which we'll have to read through and see what kind of class of skill that is that they're going to be introducing into the game. So let's start right over, watch through again, break down each of the units in succession to figure out, for one thing, you know, if they're worth pulling for and what they bring to the table. So let's start over from the beginning. So, surprise, surprise, Lukas is going to be the other Valentia represented character. Some people might be upset at the 3-to-1 ratio of females to males on this. Signature dish, Flora.
There is something delightful about
Okay, I like Hako's art here. I mean, obviously it fits with her original art. Okay, so let's take a look here at Flora's kit. So Flora, she is a dagger armor. Her weapon, Ceramnir, maybe? Is that what it is? So it looks like it's effective against beast units. So we are getting our first beast effective weapon in the game. Grants attack +3 at start of combat. If unit's res is greater than foe's res, reduces foe's attack and defense by 50% of difference between stats during combat. Interesting. Calculates reduction before combat, maximum penalty of -8. Okay, so those are all very important things to note. So first off, first beast killer weapon in the game. That is to be expected, I guess, since we did just get a set of very, very powerful beasts. I thought they were going to let beasts live and thrive for a little bit more before they started introducing beast killer weapons, but or rather beast effective weapons, but it doesn't seem like that's the case. They did put it on a seasonal unit, and for one thing, and for another thing, it's a seasonal legendary weapon, so it's not going to be inheritable. It's going to be exclusive to Flora, so it's not like you're going to see a lot of prevalence as far as beast effective weapons are concerned just yet. So they might still be holding off. We have to look at the other units to be sure, but at least at the start here, she does have her own exclusive beast effective unit, a beast effective weapon, grants attack +3. So at the start of combat, if unit's res is greater than foe's res, so Flora has always had high res, so I'm expecting this version of Flora to similarly have a very, very respectable res stat. Depending on what her res is compared to her opponent's res when she's initiating or being initiated against, basically when she's going into combat, it'll debuff the enemy's attack and defense by half of the difference between their res. So if she has 40 res, her opponent has 20 res, that means that it'll reduce the opponent's attack and defense by 10, except that there is a cap to the amount of debuff. The debuff is a maximum of -8. So in that example, she would be debuffing her opponent by -8 attack and -8 defense. So that's an interesting effect, and actually very powerful. Obviously, that caters to really stacking on her res stat. And another thing, it calculates before combat, meaning that any in-combat buffs to her res are not going to be taken into account with this penalty modifier. So it's going to be just her raw stat before she goes into combat, not the in-combat res stat. So that is important to note, especially when you're talking about close defense and distant defense type skills. Those shouldn't, at least if I'm reading this right, those should not affect this differential effect of her weapon. After combat, if unit attacked, inflicts defense res -7. So the standard dagger debuffing smoke effect afterwards. That's That's a really cool weapon. I like the effect of it. I think a lot of people are going to be going for her just because she's a beast killer, but I actually really like this very unique weapon effect that's sort of conditional and catered to her key stat, her res. If I had to guess, I think that the rest of her stats are probably going to take a backseat to her res. And along with that, she's going to have Iceberg for her special, a special that scales with her res. ARD... Okay, so Ether Raids. I guess I should have recognized that when I saw the acronym. So ARD attack res 3 for the A slot. Ether Raids. If defending in Ether Raids, grants attack res plus X during combat. X is based on the number of your defensive structures. Greater than or equal to 5 structures grants plus 10. 4 grants plus 7. 3 grants plus 4. Less than or equal to 2 grants plus 1. Destroyed defensive structures are not counted. Weird. Okay, so it's going to grant attack and res plus... This is just a weirdly conditional A slot. First of all, it only works on Ether Raids, only works in Ether Raids defense, and it scales with the number of structures that you have. All the way up to plus 10. I honestly don't see many people using this skill for a lot of reasons. The first of which, plus 10 to attack and res is really good. Don't get me wrong, but it's so conditional upon first a singular game mode, and then secondly on the number of structures, which can be destroyed. It says destroyed defensive structures are not counted. So really, in order to cripple Flora, all you'd have to do is just strategically destroy the Ether Raid defense buildings. And you could say, well, why don't you tuck away the Ether Raid defense structures so that they can't be easily destroyed, and then Flora will be able to attack. Yeah, you could do that, but the plus 10 to attack and res doesn't make... we haven't seen her stats, but I don't think that's going to make Flora so much of a threat that it's going to be impossible to at least take out some of the structures, leave her with some boosts from this attack, Ether Raid defense attack res 3, and tank her. So I don't think this is going to be a very popular skill. I frankly don't think it's a very good skill. I don't like that it's tied to Ether Raids and only to Ether Raids defense. There's a lot of things that I don't like about this skill, to be completely honest with you, and I don't even think that the boosts that it gives is necessarily going to eclipse the limitations that are involved in it. I could be wrong, but just reading this at face value, I don't really see anybody using this. I think people are going to be more likely to use an attack res solo, attack res brazen, attack res bond. They're gonna use any other pretty much type of skill that's more universal, even though the boosts are not quite as powerful. They're consistent, and consistency to me anyway is much more important. Bold Fighter 3 for the B slot, that makes a ton of sense. Bold Fighter is still an absolutely absurd B slot skill for armors. Initiating on combat, and when initiating combat, guarantees a follow-up attack, and also gives an additional cooldown charge. And Armor March for the C slot. So Flora is definitely decked out. That A slot is a little suspect in my opinion, but as far as the rest of what she provides, it definitely, I think, fills a particular niche, and she's going to do a lot of damage, and she's going to be a beast counter, which I think a lot of people are kind of striving and looking for. So she's got a lot of things going for her. She's definitely going to be a target for a lot of people, I think. So let's keep going. Yeah, I like the art too. I like the attacking art and the little food like flying off. That's so cool. Buffet for 1, Lukas. Okay. I don't remember him eating a ton in the game, but maybe I'm not remembering right. Okay, so Lukas comes with a Luncheon Lance Plus, so this is an inheritable seasonal weapon. If foe initiates combat, grants attack defense plus 4 during combat. And will likely be refinable as well. There's no really glitz and glamour with this weapon. It is similar to... It basically adds a stance effect to the weapon. similar to Shiro's lance in a manner of speaking. In fact, with the refine, it might even be better than Shiro's lance. I honestly can't remember. But given the archetype of Lukas, I think that type of weapon makes a ton of sense. He's going to come with pivot, so he can pivot in front of his allies in order to tank hits from them, or for them, I should say. Okay, so his A skill is ARO, attack defense 3, so attack, or Ether Raid offense, attack defense 3. So we all, again, I think these skills, I don't know, I think they're not going to be very good. Exclusive to Ether Raids, exclusive for offense, and based upon the number of structures in combat, it will grant, a certain number of boosts. Like I said, not in love with these skills. I will say that the Ether Raid offense skill is probably better than the defense skill just because you have more control. You have more control over how the enemy moves. You have more control over which structures you target. So because of that, the Ether Raid offense attack defense 3 makes more sense to me, at least as far as you're whittling down the map and the structures that are available on the map. Lukas will get more and more of a boost. Again, I think you're better off using a whole host of different A skills. We have plenty of them to choose from. I don't see this one seeing a ton of use, quite honestly. And in most cases, when you're down to less than or equal to 2 structures on the enemy team as far as their defensive structures are concerned, by that time, you're probably already in the thick of it and initiating against them. So by that time, the battle's probably already set anyway, as far as victory or defeat. It comes with Wary Fighter, a natural B slot skill for a high defense, highly defensive character. Prevents doubles against him, which is nice. A high defense kit, nothing glamorous here. The Ether Raid offense skill is unique and interesting, but I hate the fact that it's limited to not only one game mode, but half of a game mode. So let's keep going. I mean, I do like how they're trying to expand and do different things with the skills and create different conditions, but I don't know if I agree with the way that they're going about it. So Dressed with Care, here's going to be Genny. Okay. Alright, so Genny's ready to roll. We have Genny, the Wrathful Sheep. She is going to be on a horse this time. And she's going to be coming with Toasty Skewer Plus. So this is going to be an inheritable staff. Might of 12, range of 2. If foe initiates combat against an ally within 2 spaces of unit, grants defense res +3 to that ally during combat. Okay, that's an interesting support skill. I could see that having some use, especially since we're on the topic of Ether Raid's defense. I could see that having a good effect for Ether Raids. Again, just because stacking defensive skills is kind of the name of the game in a lot of cases to stall out. So if that's part of your strategy, you could definitely use Genny there for that purpose. Basically creating a defensive ward effect almost on her allies. And it's going to be in combat, right? Yeah, grants during combat. So just to be clear, during combat buffs means that it's not going to affect Flora, for example. It's not going to affect her skill, her weapon. In combat or during combat buffs also means that it's not going to protect from AoE specials. So again, just be mindful of that difference, that distinction. Physic Plus for the heal range restores HP equal 50% of attack. So she might have a pretty meaty attack stat if that's going to be her assist, which could be a very good thing. Fire Flood Balm Plus, 1 charge cooldown. When healing an ally with a staff, grants attack res +6 to all allies for 1 turn. Pretty good. Wrathful Staff 3 for the B slot, a natural choice. Going to allow her to do regular damage with her staff. And of course, Dazzling is going to be a natural fit for her weapon Refine. Defense Opening 3. At the start of the turn, grants defense +6 to ally with the highest defense for 1 turn. So that's kind of nice. I mean, intending to synergize, certainly, I think, with Lukas and other defensive tanky units on Ether Raid's defense. I could definitely, map-wide buffs to one of your allies is never a bad thing. It's a pretty interesting C-slot skill. All right, let's keep going. Let's see this sheep in action. She's got marshmallows. I love the flying marshmallows. That's so cool. All right, so Flora, I mean, not Flora, Felicia looking very... I love her voice. Okay, all right, so let's pause here. Let's take a look at Felicia. Her attacking art is hilarious. She's tripping. Okay, so she is going to have her own personalized weapon, just like Flora, exclusive to her, non-inheritable. Elderimnir. So it is a 16 might axe, effective against beast foes. So the sisters are going to each have one beast effective weapon. Grants speed +3 at start of combat if unit's res is greater than foe's res. Reduces foe's attack and speed by 50% of difference between stats during combat. Calculate reduction before combat. Maximum penalty of -8. So the same effect that we saw with Flora, except with Felicia, her weapon will grant her a +3 and not a +3 speed, and not only that, the debuff effect that she'll have on the opponent will be attack and speed, not attack and defense. I would say that Flora's is probably a good deal better because Flora's ensures that she does more damage against foes that she might have some difficulty with. Whereas, really, the speed is just going to allow her to... Felicia's speed debuff is really just going to kind of guarantee her doubles, which is fine. But, it doesn't really do much in the way of making sure or guaranteeing her kills. Glacies for the special... scales off of res. Similar to her sister, she's going to have a pretty bonkers res stat, probably, based upon the condition of her weapon. Speed defense bond 3. That's interesting that they would give her a defense bond instead of res bond. I guess actually it kind of makes sense only because if her weapon effect is how I'm reading it, calculates reduction before combat, the bond effect only takes place during combat. So even if she had a defense speed res bond 3, for example, or any res bond skill, that would not add to her weapon effect, because again, those buffs are during combat. Her preferred weapon calculates before combat. Speed defense bond 3, again, kind of working with, I guess, her key stat being speed and res. So really boosting her speed, guaranteeing her doubles, and then giving her a little bit more tankiness since she is a melee unit as opposed to her sister. Special Fighter 3, this B-slot skill that was introduced by Brave Ephraim a ways ago. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 50%, grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit, and inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack. So it does make sense, since Special Fighter has a sort of unique and very powerful effect, but Special Fighter does not influence follow-up attacks like Bold or Vengeful Fighter do. And the reason why Bold and Vengeful Fighter are so popular is because armors are often very slow, and they need to rely on that skill in order to guarantee doubles. Special Fighter has a very unique effect in that there's an HP condition, but at the same time it also increases the rate at which you're getting special cooldown charge and cripples the opponent's special cooldown charge, which is just overall a very, very powerful effect. Because Felicia is going to be pretty speedy, at least from the looks of things, it appears as though they're really trying to push her speed. I would not be very surprised if she is one of the speedier one of the speediest armors in the game. Because they are trying to push that aspect of her stats, she doesn't necessarily need to rely on a B-slot skill in order to double. So at least that's what I think is going to be happening here. Close Guard 3 for the C-slot. Allies within 2 spaces gain if foe uses a melee weapon. Grants defense res +4 during combat. So basically a ward skill for a universal ward skill for close range. So all in all, a pretty powerful kit, and depending on her stat line, I could see her seeing some use. I think Flora's is a little bit more synergistic and interesting as far as what it brings to the table and kind of stacking on that res so she gets all of her other effects. Also, the fact that she's ranged helps a lot. And, Felicia is a green armor. It's not as though we have a shortage of those. So, from that perspective, probably I would say that more people are going to be going for Flora than are going to be going for her sister. But all the same, Felicia has a pretty powerful kit here. Certainly wouldn't be upset at getting her. So let's keep going. Let's see this attack animation. I love it.
I'll straighten this up.
There she goes. I love it. Okay. Alright, so we're going to get A Season for Picnics as the paralogue story. Yeah, and I don't know. There's something just very wholesome about all this art. I don't know. It feels very cozy and wholesome. I'll put it that way. And Lukas is looking very dapper. The ladies are looking very cute and, you know, ready for a day of fun in the forest. So let me know in the comments below if you're excited for this banner, if you're going to be pulling, who your targets are. Me personally, I don't think I'm going to be going in hard on this banner. I'm still in orb saving mode, but I am going to at least do some pulls, at least the opening pull, and I think, you know, I would really be hoping to get either Flora or Felicia of the bunch. They're definitely the most unique characters out of all four of them. Lukas is a tanky armored lancer. We have those. We have a lot of those. But Flora and Felicia, not only do they have beast killer weapons, the first beast effective weapons in the game, but they also have just a range of very unique effects to them. As far as the arena or ether raid specific skills, I frankly don't, I can't imagine there's a lot of hype about them. I could be wrong, maybe people are excited, but not only are they limited to ether raids, but they're also limited to a specific phase of ether raids, and also dependent upon structures, which is just, I don't know. I don't think that all the conditions, or I don't think the stat boosts warrant the level of conditions that are involved. So hopefully you enjoyed watching the trailer with us for the first time. If you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. We thank you so much for watching and taking some time out of your day to spend with us. And until next time, let's protect those skies.